Hello, dear traders. This is Alex Gerchik and Gerchik Co, and today we're going to talk about the news. Is the news helping you? Is the news bothering you? What basically the news will have effect on your trading? Honestly, I've been trading for almost 20 years. Next year it will be 20 years that I'm in trading business, and I only use news most likely just to enter the position or to exit the position. Most of the time, when the news are coming out, you have to be either extremely fast or to have some information just a little bit earlier than anyone else. So in this particular case scenario, I'm going to answer to some of your questions, what basically the news done for me. For example, I'll show you a few different stocks, and I'll explain for you one thing. Usually when the news are getting out already, it's just a little bit too late to be or to enter the position. I'll show you the pages where you can see the news and what kind of news will affect on trading. For example, just hold on just 1 second. I will show it to you. This particular stock, CMCM. This stock, you see, it was nothing there. Everything was fine. You know, it's a big range. Company was almost for like 5 months staying in the big range, and all of a sudden the news are coming out. The company had a large contract, so everything is fine. The stock went up from 10 to $13.5 a share, almost 35%. I mean, obviously, you can anticipate this kind of news only if you are really watching the company very close. So just in the case scenario where you're watching the company very close, but even though you cannot really anticipate that the news is going to be like this, but what will help you? For example, if there is a very important levels and the levels are not far away, for example, like this particular level, take a look how close, so you'll understand that is a very strong level, $10.50. Take a look. You see, most of the time, obviously, the news are there, and you have a chance, and you anticipate the levels properly, and you do understand what these levels are mean. So, you know, you really could have probably get it because, you know, it was not a big gap. Just I'm going to show it to you right now. Okay, you see? Hold down just 1 second. Okay, right here. So you really, you know, you can really buy the stock right here because it was very, you see, it was nothing there. It was a big range. Take a look, very big range. And right here, $10.50 a share, you can really buy it and make money. So the beautiful part about the news, obviously, you know, if you're in a position and news are coming out to your favor, you'll make money. But a lot of times, I want you to understand, if the news are basically coming out and you sit against it, you can really get burnt out. I wanted to tell you one thing where the news basically are the most common and the most important. Most of the time, it's pharmaceutical stocks, either pharmaceuticals or the earnings. I tell you honestly right away, I don't trade stocks on earnings, not at all. I only trade when the stock are getting out with earnings. I see what companies behave, how they behave, and only then after that I will basically buy the stock or sell the stock after when I see when the big buyer or big seller are getting out. But I would never trade the stock on earnings. A lot of times people basically waiting for the pre-market activity. They see how the stock trading before the market begins and everything else, just in order for them to make money there. But as I said before, I don't trade earnings. I don't trade on earnings. I only trade a few days after when I see and I understand rebalance between the buyer and the seller. You know, when the news are coming out, all it is, it's the volatility. And then this is sometimes a very bad volatility, because a lot of times you can ask a trader, what is the volatility? And the trader will basically tell you that this is a movement on a stock. The bigger movement, the bigger volatility. Absolutely, this is an absolutely right answer. But there's a very important thing. Sometimes the volatility is bad for one simple reason. If the volatility towards your favor, you're okay. But sometimes the volatility is just not into your favor. For example, the bigger spreads, bigger move, faster move, and not always you're going to make money on volatility. So a lot of times with the people trading earnings, you know, I mean, the levels are breaking out very fast for one simple reason. When a company come out with the news, there is a totally different traders in this particular stock. I'm going to show you right now another stock. As you know, the news came out a few days ago. I'll tell you about this particular stock, VRX. Take a look. VRX, basically, it's been a very favorite stock of a lot of hedge funds. And as you know, last week, yesterday we have a Tuesday, last week, I think on Monday or Tuesday, Bill Ackman, one of the biggest shareholder of the Valeant Pharmaceuticals, get out of all of the position that he has. I mean, he took such a big loss. He lost almost 90% on the investment on this particular stock. I mean, obviously, it wasn't too big of the position with this particular company out of all of his hedge fund, but it's a big failure. I mean, he was buying the stock at $100 a share and sold the stock. It's like $11, $12 a share right here. That was the news, you see. And as you see right now, one of the biggest guys get out of the position. So right now, VRX, it's taking a big dump. I mean, the day where the big guy get out of the position, the stock trading almost 70 million shares. So in this particular stock, take a look. I mean, you don't know the news right here. Everything is fine. Looks like it's a turnaround. Looks like people start to buy. It's not going any lower. Everything is fine. And then boom, you have a news. So this news, honestly, I was anticipating. If you see my Periscope, I always talk about this particular company because it's very interesting how basically he's taking such a big loss on this particular position. So, you know, when you trade a particular stock, you must know something about it. But what's going on right now? The news already out. We know one of the biggest shareholder is out. The only one thing which really interested me here in this particular case scenario, that once he get out, somebody bought from him all of the stock. And it's very interesting who bought it. Obviously, we don't know yet, and we're not going to know for the future, at least for the near future. So somebody really bought the stock. But what we see right now, after a little bit pullback, stock is basically approaching to the low. Okay, right here, the low for the stock is at 1050, and right now the low for today is 1051. So basically somewhere at 1049, 1048. It's going to be a situation where we're going to find out what's going on with the stock. But the very important thing, what I wanted to tell you about the news, that's if you trade the news, you have to trade the news properly. And the most important thing, you have to understand everything about the news. You have to read the news properly. I was working in a company for many years, running the company actually as well, Hall Brothers, and we had a desk that was trading only in news. So, you know, when you trade the news, you really have to understand. For example, now we're going to talk about the news on forex. There's a lot of different news are coming out on forex market every single day. What the Yellen is going to say, what's the problem in the European Union, is going to be a Brexit or anything else. And as you see in this particular news, only a few people who really understand the market, they make very good money. Everybody else is losing. I want to show to you like how many news are coming out every single day in the market, so you'll understand this is not as easy as everybody think to trade. For example, every single news, this is economic calendar, as you see from March. Every particular news in this case scenario affect different kind of stocks. For example, let's say whatever it's a mortgage index. If you take a look at the mortgage index, it's obviously a very long term for the companies which provide the mortgage for the consumers. Very important thing. If the people buying the houses, they're basically taking the mortgages, the economy is booming, the people investing more money into the houses, everything is fine. For example, there's a housing price index, existing home sales. Very important. Take a look. You can basically see what's going on. What's the key factor? Existing home sales increased 3.3% at 2 seasonally adjusted annual rate. So what does it mean? For example, it's a season to buy houses. That was above the briefing consensus of 5.57 and the strongest place of sales since February 2007. So what we see right now, no matter what you say about the economy, you're saying you think the economy is better, economy is good, you have numbers. The most important thing, the people buying more houses, it means the people making money. It means you can easily borrow the money from the banks and you can buy yourself a house instead of to pay because the rents are extremely high. And sometimes for the people is, you know, people who make salary, who makes good, decent salary, it's much easier to buy the house and pay for their own house. So what we see right now, single family home sales jump as well, 2.6% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 5.5, a little bit slight of 5 million houses. So what we see, the number is much better. Take a look. You see the median existing home price for housing types increased almost 7%. So the price is going higher. Right here, as you see, all over the United States, all numbers are pretty much good. You know, right here, today, total housing inventory, the inventory lowest since January. So what does it mean? The house is selling faster. So does it mean the economy basically is booming right now? Everything is fine with the economy. Home sales increase in all regions with the exception of the Midwest. The only one region which basically have a drop down. Everywhere else, the sales went up. You see, first-time buyers were 33% from up 32. So we have every single number out here is basically outpacing the numbers of everywhere else. So obviously, the new home sales are good. It means the companies who's building the houses, they basically making much more money. And then you have mortgage applications right here. You see on 29, we're going to see the number. We're going to see a mortgage application. So according to all of these numbers, we basically might know where the S&P can go, where the index can go, or anything else. You see construction spending. You see, we can see construction spending on April 3rd. You see, there's the numbers. So we can see what's going on and we can see the number. The total construction spending declined in January and upward revised. The January number was much weaker than the briefing. You see that the total construction spending. So probably most of the time people are buying second houses. I mean, the houses that's already been built and they're already in the market. So with this, you know, you can really anticipate and understand. Building permits, very important number. You see building permits, take a look. They're going up and up and up. It means that people basically buying the land and building house. Housing start jumps over 3% in February. That's what we've seen before. The multi-unit surge is basically a little bit weak, but very important thing that when you trade, you have to understand what exactly will affect on. For example, if there's a unemployment rate or anything else, you have to know how it's gonna and what kind of effect it will have on the market and everything else. They always ask the question, if the Alex Gerchik is trading the news, the answer is no. I trade after news. Do I get out from the positions? If I know that tomorrow the earnings is going to be in the stock, most likely I'm going to get out from the position. Because I don't want to take a chance. I don't understand what's going to be. Today, a little news basically can destroy your stock. I mean, I've seen many times the stock trading at $40 a share, and then boom, next day. Like for example, I'll show it to you. The biggest moves, most likely, some news are going on. Take a look. For example, one of the most conservative. Take a look. Bank of America. You know, it's a little bit different stock. This is a preferred. Take a look. In few days, from $1.50 to 90 cents. We're talking about 40% downside. So obviously there is a news in the stock. I will show it to you a few other. Take a look. QHC. This is not the big jumps. Let's see. I wanted to show you something for you to understand that the news really can kill you as well. Take a look. Most likely it's the news. Silicon. $39 to $47 a share. What if you're short? I mean, take a look. This is the perfect short at $39 a share. You see? And all of a sudden, you have a news coming out and it's getting destroyed. Let's see together. What kind of news on this particular stock, just to understand. Okay, SILC stock news. Right, it is high or low. Okay, let's see what's the news today. The company declares dividends. You know, it's a very good news for quarter profit. You see, basically the company will come out with a good earnings. That's it. What if you short the stock? That's what I'm saying. So basically, you got to be very careful with the stocks that you trade and with the news that you trade. Very important thing. Before the news, I try to get out. Before the earnings, I definitely getting out. If there is some news about the market, for example, and I sit in one side of the market, just to give you an example. For example, I trade S&P. I'm sorry, I trade personal stocks, and I have 30 stocks, 27 of them short. And I know there is a major news supposed to come out. And for example, don't forget, a lot of news are coming out before market open. So for example, if the S&P futures is going to drop down before the market open and I'm sitting in shorts, I'm nice and cool and fine. But what if the market basically it's going to fly out and I have all the shorts? I'm going to get destroyed. So before the very important news, I rather get out from the stock, even if the stock looks extremely good. So in this case scenario, the only one thing to avoid it, it's either basically to have a balanced portfolio, or a very important thing, is to trade the stock which does not come and go with the market. If you trade the stock which is basically has nothing to do with the market and don't trade with the market, has a very low beta, for example, well below 1, then basically you're safe. Anyway, we had, as I said before, a very short webinar today about the news, how they affect. I wish you good luck trading. All the best, and thank you very much.